friends, welcome back to my channel, The Transparent Homeschool. If you have never seen me before, my name is Beth and I homeschool 3 kiddos, 2 of which are like official grades, and then I have my 3-year-old. So besides my 3-year-old, I have a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old, and we are in our 3rd week of homeschooling our new year. This is our 5th year. What I wanted to do today is just take some time, update you guys on my journey. If you have been around here before and you kind of know my spiel, you know that I haven't updated you guys on anything. I've kind of been radio silent, and there's reasons for that. There's some reasons for that, but I haven't made a video in months. I mean months. But I am here today to kind of, again, update you on my journey, tell you where I'm at, tell you where my headspace is, and kind of what's been on my heart for the past couple of months. So the first thing that I wanted to mention was that normally throughout our journey, I have updated quarterly, right? Quarter 1, 2, 3, 4, and just giving you kind of like an update, what's been working really well, what's not been working, what's changing, what's staying the same, all kinds of those things, how I'm feeling at the moment. And last year when we got back from Christmas break, we started our 3rd quarter and something just broke. Like, I don't know what it was. I don't know how to really explain it without being like too wordy where this becomes like a 30-minute video, but like something in our homeschool just wasn't right anymore. We have been a traditional kind of homeschool method like family, and it worked for a really long time. However, having said that, I was realizing that we were spending too much time on bookwork and not enough time interacting with each other and me being able to just spend time with my kids. After we got back from Christmas break, we picked right back up with all of our lessons, all of our curriculum that we were using, and it wasn't until maybe a couple weeks after that where I was in the middle of a history lesson. My kids were like lying on their chairs and they were just bored out of their brains, and I was in the middle of this lengthy description about, I don't know, I don't even remember what it was. And I just remember thinking, they don't care. Like, they don't care what I'm reading. They don't care what I've just spent 20 minutes talking about. So how is this effective? How is this benefiting my homeschool if when they are finished with their lesson today, they could not tell me one thing that they learned? And that really hit me, because it was like, why would I give so much of my effort and time to something that my kids aren't going to remember, they don't care about, it's not making an impact? My eldest child was 8 and my second was 6. It just, it wasn't working anymore for their ages. And I think that in like the scheme of using the good and the beautiful history and the good and the beautiful science, I think science is a little bit different. However, I do think that the history never worked. It's too lengthy to read. It's too in-depth with just like information for my children's attention spans, and it just wasn't working. They didn't get anything from it. They thought it was boring. They always wanted to know when it was over, what to do next, all those things. And so there wasn't ever enjoyment in learning history. I thought it was cool because I'm an adult and my exposure to history knowledge in middle school and high school was appalling. And so relearning all this stuff was really interesting to me, but it wasn't to my kids, and it wasn't benefiting our homeschool anymore. Then we hop over to science. Same thing. We had worksheets, which was okay. I mean, you know, worksheets are fine. There were a few experiments, and sometimes we did them, sometimes we didn't. And I felt burnt out. And this is a common homeschool thing, so I'm not like the only one who's ever felt burnt out. But this level that I was feeling was breaking. It was more of just the Lord placing it on my heart to change things, to change how I viewed the curriculum, how I chose what we're using, how I viewed my children, how I viewed my teaching style, how I viewed my educational philosophy. I mean, everything was under scrutiny, guys. Like, I mean, I spent hours just thinking, but what was wrong? Like, what was going on that I I didn't feel the joy that you are supposed to feel from homeschooling. And I landed on the fact that I just wanted to spend time with my kids. And even though I was home all day with my kids and I was around my kids, that's not the same thing as spending time with them. Investing in their interests, investing in their character, investing in who they are as a person, and enjoying them where they are at the moment. My son, he doesn't want to learn that way. My son does not want to sit there and be read at for 20 to 30 minutes. Like, that's not something that he's interested in. Now, if it's a book he's interested in, then fine. But the history books and the science, like, that wasn't something that he was interested in. So I really had to take a look at what needed to change and what steps I needed to take to change, because that was kind of, again, where I landed on my educational philosophy, was like the traditional setup. And so I started doing a lot of research on the different models. I looked very closely at Charlotte Mason. I looked really closely at Unschooling, and kind of ended up at the end of the year. I mean, we finished all of our curriculum except for history. I just closed it. I put it away. We didn't even finish year 2, the good and the beautiful history. But we did finish all of our science. We finished all of our language arts, and we finished all of our math. We didn't finish Latin. I put that away too. And so I kind of was at this bare bones moment where it was just, I'm going to do the things that I think are worthwhile. We'll finish the books, and then we'll change next year. And that's where we are right now. So I ended up kind of with this super hybrid weird thing where it's like part eclectic, part unschooling, kind of Charlotte Mason thing. And then that's where I based my curriculum choices off of, and that's where kind of we are at the moment. So let me say kind of the unschooling part, because I know a lot of you put up those red flags when I said unschooling, and I am with you there. I think unschooling is just this like huge spectrum of like possibilities. You have your extremes on both ends, right? But then on the other hand, there's like huge room for these possibilities of what it could look like without going to the extremes. And that's kind of where I find myself right now. So unschooling, in case you guys aren't familiar with it, is child-led interests, child-led learning, right? So again, on your extremes, you know, there's like the child chooses when to do math if they want to do math. They choose what to learn about math when they're interested in it. So if your child doesn't want to learn multiplication in 3rd grade, they don't have to. If they want to learn it in 5th grade, they can do it then. Or if they don't want to read until 7 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, that's when they're going to do their reading. I'm not that far, but then I'm not on the other hand where it's like there are no rules in my house. You know, my children can eat whatever they want, whenever they want, watch TV whenever they want. That's not me either. I am a structure girl. I love routines, and there are limits in my house. But when it comes to school, beyond, you have to do math every day, you have to do like some kind of language arts every day, like, I will let you lead me when you want to learn about animals, or I will lead you, or I will wait for you to lead me if you want to learn about pearls, which we just spent like 3 days learning about pearls. My daughter's obsessed with pearls, and it's super interesting on how they're made. But I let her choose like when to learn about that stuff. And a lot of that comes with the new curriculum that we chose, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, but that's kind of where we are in the spectrum of unschooling. I did keep Simply Good and Beautiful Math, so we do like have a traditional math program, the Good and the Beautiful. So we are doing that, and we are doing a Bible study from Not Consumed Ministries, Kim Sorgis. If you have never heard of her before, I encourage you to jump over to her website, Not Consumed Ministries. So we're doing that, we're doing the Simply Good and the Beautiful Math, and then we're doing kind of a unit study-ish, kind of Charlotte Mason-ish kind of thing, where everything besides math and like any extra thing, even Bible is added in there, is in this curriculum. And so I will talk about that in a second. We have other announcements too. As you can tell, this is not my normal background because we moved houses at the end of last year, which is also part of the reason of the burnout and kind of the new way of things right now is we moved houses and it's a lot. And it's hard, you know, it's hard to leave your homeschool room and then come to a new space and kind of have to like envision what it's going to look like, how the flow is going to work, where to put stuff and all that. But the big thing, the huge thing, which I think is the kind of like headliner of also where I'm at the moment, is that we are expecting another baby. We got pregnant again at the end of last year, and it's actually a little funny because we were at the homeschool conference in May, and I was like, I think I might be pregnant. So I took a test, and sure enough, there I was. So that's kind of the headspace too, is like right now I'm 4.5 months pregnant. I don't feel like doing a whole bunch of stuff, like getting all these books, spending 3 to 4 hours upstairs in our schoolroom doing work. We're up here for that long anyway, but now that we have this kind of like more like relaxed approach, we're doing a lot of other things too. Like we are coloring together, we're playing board games together, we're doing puzzles together, we're like talking together. And that's kind of where I wanted my homeschool to be this year. And so getting pregnant just kind of like fast forwarded that super fast until the point where, you know, I have only planned my school year, which if you guys know me, you know that I make a planner. I have like a homeschool planner that is from like, I don't know, June to like June. And guys, I have only like officially planned until December because the baby is due in January, and I don't know what's going to happen after January. I don't even know, like I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to be needing to have the whole month of January off. I don't know if I'm going to be full of like energy and be like, all right, let's go, let's homeschool. I don't know. We have been through a new baby during homeschool before, but this is going to be different because all babies are different and the family dynamic changes and we have to kind of flow and get used to that. So I only planned up to December, but like as far as writing stuff down in my planner, 2 weeks. 2 weeks at a time is where I'm at right now, because other than that, there's no point. There's no point in writing down all of the stuff. There's no point in doing that anymore. And I realized that. So that's why I'm doing 2 weeks at a time, and I have only planned up till December. So having said all of that, you ask, what am I using? So besides the things that I already mentioned, the big thing that we changed this year was we started using a curriculum called Gather Round. I will do a whole video about what it is and how it works, but basically, if you've never heard of Rebecca Spooner before, she has a YouTube channel. I would highly encourage you to go and watch her. She is very knowledgeable and very enjoyable to watch. But I stumbled, actually I've never heard of her curriculum before. I've heard of her, but not her curriculum. And I stumbled upon it at the homeschool conference, and I just couldn't walk away. I couldn't stop coming back to the booth. And so I kind of wondered to myself, like, is this God giving me like my answer? Is this God telling me like this is what you're going to be using? So I did buy it. We only bought 2 units. Like I said, we're going up to December, so we're just using it up until December. But it's very new and it's very different for me, and so it's going to take getting used to, but I like it so far. So that's kind of just where my heart is right now. That's where we're at the moment with school and my my educational philosophy and kind of where I want the goals of my family to be. If you've ever had kind of like a moment like this, give me a thumbs up. You know, leave a comment, tell me I'm not alone and that everything will be all right. I know it will. I know everything will be okay, but you know, just starting something new like this, it is scary, and it is something that I've had to pray about, but it just offers me the freedom that I need, the freedom that I want, and it gives me the time back to spend with my children, which is the ultimate goal for this year and how I kind of want my homeschool to look. So thank you for sitting through this lengthy, I try to keep it short, but obviously that's impossible for me. But thank you for listening to me and kind of just hearing my heart on things, and I hope that somewhere in my ramblings you got a little glimpse of wisdom or like a nugget of advice or something. And if you're going through the same thing, just I encourage you to keep pressing forward, keep pressing through it, and eventually you will find kind of your path forward. So now that I'm officially back to making videos, I will be putting out some videos pretty soon about like our homeschool room, all of our curriculum choices, going into depth on them and showing you some homeschool haul or our supplies haul, things like that. So thank you so much for just, again, spending time with me and listening to my heart, and I hope that you guys have a really great day. Bye.